NFL draft nerds, welcome into Senior Bowl Day 2 standouts. 2025 Senior Bowl practice Day 2 is in the books. Fired up to get into it. We got the national team and the American team. And this was a good day of practice overall. I thought that there was a little bit more physicality overall. I thought that it was even between offenses and defenses. You had guys making plays on both sides of the ball for both teams. So lot of standouts, a lot of guys who I think are making themselves some money, cementing themselves as legitimate, in some cases, day one, day two, day three prospects. I think Jim Nagy's done another terrific job getting a lot of just incredible prospects out here. So we'll start with the national practice. They did it first today, then the American practice, and just go through the standouts. I'm not really trying to talk about anything too negative, trying to keep it positive here. So if I'm not talking about someone, there's a chance maybe they did not impress me too much. So kicking it off at wide receiver with the national practice, and these are not in order. It's just guys that stood out to me throughout practice and the way I took down the notes. So wide receiver Kyle Williams from Washington State, he stood out both days. He's made a lot of grabs. You go back and watch his tape. He's not somebody I had watched before Senior Bowl. He's got so much quickness, agility, the ability to release off the line. He's only a little over 5'10", and he was listed at 6 feet for Washington State, but a little over 5'10". He does have over 30-inch arms, so I think he can play outside, and he did primarily play outside at Washington State. But if you think about him playing more in a slot/Z role, moving around a formation a lot, I think this is a guy that can create a ton of separation. He's got natural hands plucking the ball out of the air. I like his game a lot, and I think he has really shown out and cemented himself as potentially a day two. And there's so many good receivers here. It's kind of crazy, and good receivers in the draft. I know people have talked about this being a down year at receiver. I don't see it that way. I've made a video about it. I really don't. I think safety Keandre Jackson has really made a name for himself here. He's somebody that's been on my radar certainly throughout the week. He hasn't won every rep in coverage, but I love the way he stays in phase in coverage against tight ends and single coverage, and he's got some good length as a safety prospect. You know, over 32-inch arms. I think you see that length when he's trying to disrupt throughout routes and at the catch point. So I think that's a guy that has stood out to me a little bit. Offensive lineman Jalen Rivers out of Miami. This is a guy that I think he's had some reps inside and outside. I think he needs to play guard, which I'm going to say about a lot of these guys here today. But Jalen Rivers has been really clean. He really, very rarely loses a one-on-one rep or a team rep. So that's something to keep in mind. I thought that the one guy who did get him today was Junior Tafuna out of Utah, who hit him with a jab step to the outside, kind of crossed his face, hit him with the club, and immediately was in the backfield. So that's somebody to keep an eye on. Junior Tafuna, the interior defensive lineman out of Utah, who has some decent measurables, has good athleticism, good explosiveness. Definitely going to have to pop on the tape for him. Aeneas Peebles is another interior defensive lineman who is undersized but continues to absolutely show out with a variety of pass rush moves and great explosiveness off the ball. So Aeneas Peebles, talking about a three-tech penetration style player. Don't know if he's going to be a full-time starter just because of the lack of mass on his frame, but somebody who will be able to give you some juice as a rotational rusher without question in my mind. Edge Mike Green, another guy. I don't know that he's going to be a full-time, like if you're in a 4-3, I don't know if he's playing full-time 4-3 edge, but outside linebacker in a 3-4, designated pass rusher, rotational guy in a 4-3. I think that Mike Green doesn't have great length, but he showed off some of his power today. He tried to run through the face of some guys, and he did absolutely put some guys on their butt today. Ariante Ursary ran right through his face. And so you love to see that competitiveness from him. A lot of his wins on tape are more finesse, using that speed, using that agility to either bend around to the top of the arc or cross the face and get inside. But today he was able to show off some power, which was cool. Anthony Belton, the tackle, played tackle at NC State, has played some tackle and guard out here. He continues to show off and show out. He is so strong, so physical, and he's got good movement size at 345 pounds, almost 35-inch arms. He's been really impressive to me. It was interesting seeing Donovan Ezraku versus Marcus Mbo at tackle. Marcus Mbo lining up at left tackle. Look, Ezraku's having a great week so far. This is a guy that's making himself some money. I already had him as an early second round prospect. It's possible that he goes day one. We'll see how it ends up playing out because there's a lot of talented edge players in this class. He is certainly one of them. Marcus Mbo, though, to me, got to kick him inside. I think that he did get some reps in there today. I want to see him playing primarily inside tomorrow. I think that would be a really good move for him potentially just to show off what he can do more on the interior. I think for whatever reason, when he gets in space, he retreating in space, in your pass sets, he just does not look comfortable. So get him in more of a confined area, get some bodies around him, and he looks a lot more comfortable in those situations. I want to see him at center. I want to see him at guard. And he did play some guard at Purdue, so it's not like you haven't seen that at all. But I think that you project him inside much better than you do outside. A guy that I'm a big fan of his game, but at tackle, it's looking pretty rough right now. Edge, Femi Oladejo continued to show out for me. So much energy. Was playing linebacker before this year, converted to edge over for UCLA. And he continues to win reps one-on-one and make plays. So that's somebody I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye on and get eyes on his film. Defensive lineman Darius Alexander, he's just a freak show at 314 pounds, really good length, explosive. They had him lining up at 5 tech and rushing against guards, and that was certainly a mismatch. He had a big day, and he's had a big week so far. Wide receivers, Tez Johnson and Jaden Higgins, two guys who I think should be top 50 prospects in this class, should come off the board in the top 50, certainly in the second round at the very least. Both of those guys showed out. Jaden Higgins had a big-time day. The ability for him at almost 6'4", 217 pounds, to plant and cut and run crisp, precise routes is really special. And then he also has great body control, great hands, great focus. I think at worst he's going to be a really good wide receiver too, ex-receiver who can also kick inside and run from the slot, be a power slot. Tez Johnson, you can't cover him. And they keep putting Azareye'h Thomas on him. And I think it's because Azareye'h wants to cover the perceived best receiver out there, and that's Tez Johnson. And Azareye'h Thomas is not going to play off the ball in the slot in the NFL. That's just not going to be his role. But he's doing a good, admirable job for being a big, long corner at trying to cover Tez Johnson and guys like Tez. You want him pressed up on the line of scrimmage. You want him in press technique, creating havoc at the line, disrupting routes early on, and then using his fluidity, which he did show off, to be able to keep up in man-to-man coverage down the field. Elijah Arroyo continues to show out. The way he is able to move at 250 plus pounds is really incredible, and he has really soft hands, able to attack the football in the air and just kind of the football doesn't jump on him. He is able to really look comfortable, whether it's catching the ball over his shoulder, going up for it, whatever it may be, and he creates separation as well. And his teammate, running back Damian Martinez from Miami, my guy at running back in this draft. Bottom line, I think he should be a day 2 pick. I think there's a lot of guys you could say that about in the running back class, but he was able to show off some of his traits today. His quickness at the second level, quickness and agility he brings, but also the power. Like, he is so patient and has good vision and is able to get to the second level with ease thanks to those traits. And then once he gets to the second level, he is either juking you out of your jock or he's running through your face. And I love that about Damian Martinez. And I think he's got some more juice and explosiveness than some people might expect. And I think he might have just turned 21 this month. So somebody to keep an eye on, certainly. Tight end Terrence Ferguson continued to show out for me. Made some nice grabs, made a contested catch today. And cornerback Quincy Riley, so competitive out of Louisville. Somebody who I've been a fan of for a while. Was able to see him a little bit last year when we were scouting the other Louisville prospect who ended up going to Tennessee, I believe, the corner out of Louisville, who I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but if you studied last year, you know who I'm talking about. Then looking at the American practice, wide receiver Jack Besh, able to show off his ball skills, and obviously he has a higher purpose right now when it comes to going out there and playing football. Lost his brother in the terrorist attack in New Orleans, which was absolutely horrible. So he's going out there and playing for his family, trying to show out and make it mean something for his brother. And he's doing a great job. I think he's really physical as a blocker. He did draw a holding call today, but you saw him on a crackback block. He was able to do a good job. And again, showing contested catch skills, showing competitiveness. I like his game a lot. I like the way he brings it. I think I don't know if he's a day two guy, honestly. I think he's borderline day two, day three, but I like the way he plays the game. Defensive tackle Cameron Jackson out of Florida continues to show out. He is so big, so physical, great length. He just creates push. Whether he's trying to get after the quarterback or creating disruption in the backfield, he can hold up at the point of attack as well. Cameron Jackson, somebody to keep an eye on. Willie Lampkin, maybe one of the stories, certainly one of the top stories of the Senior Bowl so far. A 5'10", 270-pound interior offensive lineman. Now, he does a tremendous job. Obviously, he has the natural leverage advantage, but he has great proportional length. You say 32-inch arms, that's not great. That wouldn't be great if you're 6'4", 6'5". But at 5'10", having 32-inch arms, I mean, that is good proportional length. You combine that with the natural leverage, and you see how he can kind of win. And he gets up under the pads. He can stonewall you a little bit thanks to that leverage, and he's able to kind of plant his feet in the ground. He's not going to dominate at the NFL level. He's probably not going to be a starter. But I do think he's going to make it as a backup in the NFL, a swing guy on the interior. And I think he's going to have a career, which is really impressive at his size. Defensive lineman Walter Nolan continues to just be a problem. He's too explosive, too fast, too flexible. He's going to be a nightmare in the NFL as a three-tech penetration style player. Interior offensive lineman Clay Webb out of Jacksonville State, transferred there from Georgia. He continues to impress me. Emory Jones and Miles Frazier, two LSU dudes. They both have had reps at tackle and guard. Emory Jones played tackle in college at right tackle. Frazier played guard. I think they both project as guards to the next level. Emory Jones, when he has been lined up at guard, has been damn clean. He's had ups and downs at tackle throughout the week, but when you put him at guard, he's done a really, really good job. Shamar Stewart had an incredible day today. The just insane athlete, 6'5", 284 pounds, 34-inch arms, insanely explosive and powerful. He was able to rush through some guys. He was able to get around the edge as well, just shooting off the ball and leaving the offensive tackle in the dust. Shamar Stewart had a really good day. Also had a forced fumble in team. Kyle Kennard was super competitive today. He played really physical, the edge out of South Carolina. He's someone who I do think is definitely in the day two range. I have him more later day two, but the way he played today, he looked like a guy who could go in the second round, and he was very productive at South Carolina. I love seeing Jonas Avenea getting reps inside at guard as well. I think that's where he projects best to the next level, and when he has been inside, he has been pretty much perfect. I thought Deone Walker, the hulking 6'7", 340-pound, 35-plus-inch arms, interior defensive lineman out of Kentucky. Pad level is his issue. It was an issue yesterday. You only saw like one or two reps yesterday where you're like, okay, there it is. He was able to not pop up straight up out of his stance, and he was able to get good leverage, good positioning, and you saw that a lot more today. He did a really, really good job today overall. Deone Walker did, and he was disruptive. So that's what you want to continue to see from him. If he can stack multiple days like that, it's going to help his draft stock. It's going to help teams say, hey, maybe we can coach this guy up to not play so high, not have such bad pad level, and end up having a game wrecker. Because if you can get him to play with good pad level, he absolutely will be a game wrecker. And on tape, and you saw it today as well, he does have the ability to hit some pass rush moves on you. Tight end Jackson Hawes, I don't know if he's going to be an impact player. He's definitely a day three guy, but he had a really nice one-handed grab on a poor throw by Jackson Dart today. Running back Devin Neal, super quick and explosive. This is a guy who I think has starting potential in the NFL. Has a lot of carries, a lot of yards, just a lot of production at Kansas. I think that can continue to the next level. Really deep running back class. There's going to be guys on day three that are starters in the NFL, in my opinion, or at least 1B type of guys that are really good. Offensive lineman Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State. He has flashed a lot for me over the first 2 days. Wanted to shout him out. Cornerback Upton Stout. He plays the game the right way. He's physical. He gets up in your face. Not the biggest dude out there, certainly, but this is a guy who looking up his measurables because, again, I don't think his measurables really represent how well he plays out there, and I'm not getting them. But Upton Stout is absolutely a guy that you can get excited about. Oh, there we are. 5'8". Yeah, 5'8" and a quarter, 178 pounds. He does have good proportional length, 30 and 3/8 inch arms, so he can get after it. He will play physical throughout the route. He has good quickness and fluidity. I think he's going to have a role at the next level. Might have to kick inside and play nickel, but I think he'll be able to find a niche for himself in the NFL. Wide receiver Ty Felton, who has really good length overall, out of Maryland. He's made big plays both days, creates separation at a high level. I'm a huge fan of his game. I was familiar with him on tape coming into this one, but I think that he continues to impress me even more. The more I watch him and the more you see him at Senior Bowl, he's doing a great job. And he's a little light when you look at his measurables, right? Where are we at with Ty Felton? He's 6 foot and 5'8", so almost 6'1", 186 pounds, has 30.5-inch arms. He plays with real good speed and explosiveness. I think he might run in the 4.3s. And at that size to run in the 4.3s, you're talking about cooking. You're talking about a size-speed combination that is tough to compete with. Chimere Dike out of Florida, another one. He is a smooth operator, and I think he's going to have a chance to make an NFL roster. Safety Billy Bowman continues to impress me. He's able to read the game really well. I think that he's explosive downhill. He was one of the top speed guys on the field when you talk about the miles per hour measurements that they do out at the Senior Bowl. So that was cool to see. Princely Uman Mielen rushing from the interior was pretty devastating in the team portion of practice. I think that he got my guy Jackson Slater pretty easily. That's somebody who I think is pushing to be a first-round pick. Running back Jarquez Hunter, you're able to see him make a couple plays as well out of Auburn. He is a kind of Mighty Mouse type of guy. 5 foot, 5'10", I think. Where is he here? Yeah, 5'9" and 1/8, 212 pounds, but he's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. You saw that today, and he is tough. He breaks a lot of tackles, and go look at his tape. He's one of the leaders in this class in forced missed tackles. And then tight end Jake Brenningschool out of Clemson had a really good day. He held in several passes, looked smooth as an athlete overall, and somebody who I think is going to be probably not a starting tight end, but a role player at tight end at the next level that can be kind of that F move tight end and get him involved in the passing game quite a bit. But that'll do it. Those are my standouts. Really appreciate y'all tuning in for another Senior Bowl winners recap. Senior Bowl Day 2. We've got one more day of practice tomorrow. Can't wait to see what happens out there. And then obviously they're going to take the field for the game on Saturday. Again, really appreciate y'all support. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.